Hey everybody, welcome to chapter 12, social psychology. I'm not even on the right page. There we go. What is social psychology? Our learning objectives for 12.1 define social psychology, describe situational versus dispositional influences on behavior, describe the fundamental attribution error, define social psychology. It's your social situations. Describe situational versus dispositional influences. Situational is the view that our behavior and actions are determined by our immediate environment and surroundings. Dispositional, our behavior is determined by internal factors. Fundamental attribution error. According to some social psychologists, people tend to overemphasize internal factors as explanations or attributions for the behavior of other people. They tend to assume that the behavior of another person is a trait. The way I think about this is like I might be ugly to somebody later on in the day because I'm tired, or my husband and I've gotten into it, or my children are making me crazy, or I don't feel well. But internally, I'm not an ugly person. That's kind of what I imagine, or that's what I think of with this. Self-presentation. Our learning objectives describe social roles, how they influence behavior, explain what social norms and how they influence behavior, describe or define script, and describe findings of the Stanford Prison Experiment. Social roles, a pattern of behavior that is expected of a person in a given setting. Social norms and how they influence behavior. You look around and you act like what everybody else is acting like. That's a social norm. Script is a person's knowledge about the sequence of events expected in a specific setting, such as school. The Stanford Prison Experiment, they took 24 college males and they divided them. Some were acting as prison guards and some were acting as the cellmates or the prisoners. And they just took their roles entirely too serious. And so after 6 days, it had to be squashed because they took it too seriously. And some of the prison guards were like bullying the inmates, and they weren't even really inmates. Attitudes and persuasion. Attitude are evaluation of a person, an idea, or an object. And describe how people's attitudes are internally changed through cognitive Psychological discomfort arises from holding two or more inconsistent attitudes, behaviors, or cognitions. For example, if you believe smoking is bad for your health, but you continue to smoke, you experience conflict between your belief and your behavior. People's attitudes are externally changed through persuasion. Much of persuasion we experience comes from outside forces. Think about commercials. Describe the peripheral and the central routes to persuasion. There is the thing for that, the picture for that. If my picture or my video is covering it, you have the slides available. Conformity, compliance, and obedience. The Asht effect, Confederate, someone who knows what's going on but is going to throw off the group. Norm, social influence, you don't want to be the odd duck. Informational, social influence, you think the group is incompetent. Stanley Milgram's experiment is obedience. You will do as you're told. Groupthink, when you conform your thinking to what the group thinks. Group polarization, political groups is a good example of this. Social loafing, when your output decreases because your personal output will not be judged. Your group will be judged as a whole, so you kind of slack off. De-individualization, this is associated with mob mentality. Prejudice and discrimination. Prejudice is not liking someone because they are associated with a different group than you. A stereotype is having a belief or assumption about someone. Discrimination is when you combine your stereotypes and your prejudice and have a negative thought about somebody. Sexism, racism, ageism, homophobia, and transphobia. Why do they exist? They exist because people are either taught this way or their group thinks this way and they conform. Self-fulfilling prophecy, when you ensure to prove that a person A is worthless because of X, Y, or Z, then you make it your mission to prove the person A is worthless. It's not very nice. Aggression, our learning objectives, define aggression, cyberbullying, and bystander effect. Aggression is humans engage in aggression when they seek to cause harm or pain to another person. Cyberbullying, it's repeated behavior that is intended to cause psychological or emotional harm. It's usually done via the computer, cell phones, something covert. Bystander effect is when you just watch somebody get beat up and you don't help. Pro-social behavior. Altruism is when you volunteer to help others, when you help others without weighing the cons. Empathy is when you understand how someone feels. Forming relationships. Proximity, we form relationships with people that we spend a lot of time with. Similarity, we have similar beliefs. And I'll let y'all read that. Attraction, we are attracted to various attributes on our preferred person. People weigh how someone looks based on how compatible their looks are. I have a little chart here for Steinberg's love triangle: consummate love, empty love, and romantic love. And the social exchange theory, are we going to last? These are the cost of relationships and benefits, the naive economists. So that is chapter 11. No, that's chapter 12. Sorry. Thank you. Bye.